We're going to face this gangster thing down, and we're going to hang together, and we're going to make sure that Americans get health care. Because remember, this whole thing that we're shut down, we're about today, is because we insist that the working poor of America get health care. They said we're going to shut you down unless you throw the working poor over the edge of this boat on health care. We ain't throwing nobody over nothing. We're going to stick together. We're going to hang together. And I'm telling you, all over this country, this chain across the Capitol for a chained CPI, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to hang together. We're going to stay chained together around doing the right thing. We're going to get rid of this chained CPI thing. But the way to win this is to galvanize Americans all across the United States and create a massive wave that says that we are each other's brother and sister's keeper, and that our seniors are precious to us, and that our American citizens with disabilities are precious to us, and nobody under the bus, nobody over the bridge, nobody over the side of the boat, no chained CPI. That's right. Now look, because I got a little bit delayed, I'm not sure what order my friends have showed up in. So I'm going to do the best I can. The illustrious chairman of the Judiciary Committee, John Conyers, everybody.
What we've got to do is stay on point, open this place back up. Right. We're not going to fool around with trying to put Obamacare in a clean funding resolution. Keep it out of there, and we'll stay here as long as we have to. If they think they can wear us out on this, they're dead wrong. We're here to stay. And so it's in that spirit that we're going to be doing something in my district in Detroit. We got a lot of people there that will be affected, like you. And everybody's got to know that Chained CPI is...
All right. Thank you, John. We need folks rallying in D.C., in Detroit, in Chicago, Los Angeles, Peoria, Jackson, Mississippi, Minneapolis, everywhere Americans live. We need to be... Ohio. Where else? Give me some more. America. Every inch of this country, we got to rise up. We got to stand up. And to urge us forward, Carolyn Maloney, a great advocate of the people. Come on up, give us a word.
From the great state of New York, a chained CPI is a cut. That's what it is. It's a cut. It's a cut to veterans, seniors, particularly the older, people with disabilities, orphans, and other surviving children of deceased workers. Now, there are some that say it's a technical adjustment. Believe me, a cut to vital services is not a technical adjustment. It is a cut to vital services. And we need to be united in opposing cutting Social Security. And Americans also oppose shutting down the government in order to deny millions of Americans health care. That's right. We will not be bullied into changing our minds on this. And the Republicans need to learn to respect democracy and the wishes of the American people. We passed the Affordable Care Act. We had it affirmed by the Supreme Court. We are not going to cut it, and we are not going to accept any so-called technical change that is basically and truly a cut. We need to be united across this country, and if we are united, we will prevail. Thank you.
All right. Carol Maloney, everybody. Carol Maloney, standing with the people. All right. Now, let me just tell you, we also have with us today my good friend from the state of New York, another leader who never backs down from a fight when the people's interests are on the line. Paul Tarco, everybody.
Hey, everybody. It's great to stand with so many advocates of what is right, what is fair. We stand right before this wonderful edifice called Capitol. The rotunda stands as a beacon of hope for people around the world. It most certainly should stand as a beacon of hope for all of us as Americans. What needs to be guiding all of the actions taken at this Capitol are social justice and economic justice. A chained CPI doesn't address that. It doesn't capture that justice that is so unique to the American halls of politics and what's right that governs this nation. I stand with you firmly to say hands off the system that's worked beautifully. I'm looking at a wonderful sign that speaks to me and Carolyn. Chained CPI hurts our economy. New York would lose alone as one state $2 billion or 12,400 jobs. That's not progress, my folks. That's taking a step backward. We're about moving forward. We're about social and economic justice. I stand with you. Hands off Social Security. Let's keep our Medicaid and Medicare system strong. Let's go forward and undo this shutdown. Let's reopen government, and let's go forward with regular order and do a budget that will show the contrast of who's offering what. As we get to that finish line, you'll see that the Democrats in the House stand for social and economic justice. I'm proud to stand with my colleagues and all of our supporters.
Now, let me tell you, we have a freshman here who came out of the gate strong for the working people. He's a small business owner, but his commitment to his union shop, printing shop, and the workers who work there is undeniable. This guy is fighting for human rights, civil rights, economic rights. This guy's name, and you should know it, is Mark Pocan. Give him a hand.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you everyone for being here. A great Midwesterner and someone from Keith's home state, former Vice President and Minnesota Senator Hubert Humphrey once stated, "The moral test of government is how the government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped." Our moral test today is Social Security.
Yep.
It's a moral promise of economic security we make to our seniors, our veterans, people with disabilities, and our children. And it's also a promise we make to people like my mom. My mom is 84 years old, and I grew up in a lower middle class family. She gets $1,101 a month in Social Security. She lives like a third of seniors off of that $1,101 a month. If we do chained CPI, that means a cut of over $1,100 a year to her, something she simply can't afford. We can make real changes to this program. We can lift the cap on earnings tax for Social Security. That'd make it stronger and extends its solvency. But one thing we can't do, whether it be during the negotiations to reopen government, during the debt ceiling, or at any time, we absolutely cannot and will not support a chained CPI to Social Security. A cut to Social Security is unacceptable, and we won't stand for it.
That's right.
Thank you.
Now, let me tell you, I was so lucky when I came into Congress to have a partner and a sister and a buddy and a friend like Yvette Clarke. You know, she is clear on the needs of working people today. She doesn't back down. She's fierce, she's passionate, and she loves this country and our seniors and folks who are with disabilities, and she's here to give you a word. Everybody give Yvette Clarke a strong hand.
Thank you, Keith. I believe that it is an imperative that all seniors be able to retire with dignity, not just the privileged few. I'm committed to protecting Social Security and working to preserve its original purpose as a reliable source for income for American seniors. That is why I firmly oppose any efforts to tie Social Security benefits to the chained CPI, and I reject the notion that the future of hardworking Americans should be left to income fluctuations that will be caused by chained CPI. Many Americans are unaware that chained CPI would also harm the well-being of veterans, people with disabilities, orphans, other surviving children of deceased workers, in addition to our seniors. Under a chained CPI scheme, and that's what it is, folks, it's a scheme, Social Security benefits will be cut more than with every passing year. At age 75, your benefits will be cut by about $650 a year on average. $650 a year, and at age 85, your benefits would be cut by over $1,150 a year. At age 95, about $1,600 a year. My constituents vehemently oppose cutting Social Security benefits, which they have worked so hard to earn. We've earned these benefits, folks. We've earned them. And oppose denying millions of American quality, affordable health care as well, just like they oppose the Republican shutdown of the federal government. The American people won't be held hostage, abused, bullied by the Republicans. Our seniors will not be bullied by Republicans, and neither will I. No chained CPI. No chained CPI. No chained CPI. No chained CPI. No how. No how. No way. No chained CPI. Vote for a clean CR.
Now, let me just tell you, we've heard from folks who represent urban areas, but it's very important to understand that this chained CPI idea would affect and hurt people in greater America as well, in our small towns, in our rural communities. And I just want to tell you that when my buddy Phil Hare left Congress, Yvette and I were kind of shook up about that. And then we had some other person who didn't really get it come in. But then something good happened. Something really good happened. Sherry Bustos happened. And she came here from the Quad Cities representing small towns, rural America. Hey, you know what? The question is, does it play in Peoria? Chained CPI does not play in Peoria. Come on up here, Sherry.
All right. You know, I'll tell you what, I love looking around here and seeing this grassroots support. You know, we've got a government shutdown going on, which is just absolutely unconscionable. And you all came out here, you got some of your homemade signs, and thanks for being here, because this just shows, and I hope it shows America, that we're not going to stand for this. This is not the way to look at balancing the budget. We have many other alternatives. Nobody here is saying we don't have some budget issues. We know we have some budget issues, but we are not going to balance the budget on the backs of the seniors. That is just the wrong approach. I do represent an area that is mostly rural. It's mostly rural. And what I do when I go home, and I go home every weekend that we're not out here doing business, and I visit senior centers, and I sit down with seniors, and I sit down with retired farmers, because we got a lot of farmland in our area too. And I can tell you, Social Security has helped so many people. It is a solemn promise that we have made to the seniors in this crowd. I'm a little ways off from collecting Social Security, but I can tell you that when it's time for my generation and our children's generation and our grandchildren's generation, we have to make sure that it's there, it's safe, and it's sound. And chained CPI is not going to get us there. So we'll keep fighting. The people that you see here standing, and there's a lot more who will be standing behind us. We're going to keep fighting for this. We give you our word on that, and you got to keep fighting with us. So thank you for being out here.
All right. Bustos, everybody. Bustos gonna boost them up. All right. So look, we have everybody you see is a champion here, but a champion among champions is Rosa DeLauro. Yeah. Rosa is just remarkable and has been fighting tirelessly, not just on economic fairness for all, but specifically on Social Security and fighting against this chained CPI. She's been there on food safety, on trade, on everything. A person who I'm always proud to stand behind and shoulder to shoulder with is Rosa DeLauro. Please greet her.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Keith. What an honor to be here with all of you today. You are the wind beneath our wings. You give us the strength to carry on this fight, and I can't thank you enough. And I want to say a thank you to my colleagues, and maybe Sherry who said this. You are not alone.
That's right.
You are not alone. It's a much, much larger group than the group that is arrayed here. And for a whole lot of reasons, folks can't be up here, but we are committed to making sure that there is no chained CPI.
No.
You know, Social Security, and I listened to Mark. You know, my mom, Mark, is 99 years old. She's going to be 100 in December. And when I think of what Social Security means in her life, you know, yes, she has me, she has my husband, but what if she didn't? What if she did not? So for me, Social Security is the ultimate legislative expression of our shared national values. It is like Medicare and the Affordable Care Act, I might add, the foundation on which this great middle class was built in America. And as soon as that first Social Security check was issued, poverty among the elderly began to drop. It is the most successful government program in our history. I will not support any cuts to Social Security. It's off the table. We should be working to expand the benefits and not cutting them. As one of my colleagues said, this is a benefit cut for seniors and one that grows worse over time. On average, a 75-year-old would lose $650 a year. 85 years old would lose $1,150 a year. And a 95-year-old would lose $1,600 a year. Gentlemen, I hope you will not take offense at this, but women live longer. It is a fact. And the highest rate of poverty in the nation is amongst older women. We cannot add by cutting Social Security for these folks. I'm just going to end with this. You know, we have to, and you're here to do this, stand up for the middle class.
Yep.
Stand up
Yes.
for that social contract that really is the fundamental part of our life here in America, and Social Security is at the heart of that contract. We cannot allow the majority or anyone else to break it. If you want to make cuts, my friends, we have places that you can go.
We do.
Let's go to the oil and gas industry and their $4 billion. Let's go to the agriculture subsidies and make sure that those are going to people that need them and not to big agribusiness in the millions and millions and millions of dollars. And let's make sure that we tell our corporations, you're not going to get a tax break if you take your jobs overseas. You want to make cuts? That's where you make the cuts. We will not cut benefits for our seniors. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the wind beneath our wings.
All right. Now, you know, folks, important to remember, retirement has been a three-legged stool. One is the money you save. Another is the money your job's supposed to save for you. And then Social Security. You know what? The money your job, you know, they converted us from pensions to 401ks and IRAs, which underperform. And then this last financial thing got really hit bad. We don't need to cut Social Security. We need to increase it. We should be going up, not down. Let me tell you who knows all about it and who can really give you a strong word about what we need to do, the time we're in and the moment we're in. It's the fearless, relentless Barbara Lee.
Go get him, fearless.
Thank you very much, Keith, for your tremendous leadership. And let me just say to all of you today that thank you for being here during this very difficult moment for us, because you are the heart and soul of our country, and you give us the strength and the backbone and what we need to keep fighting the good fight on behalf of not only our senior citizens, but on behalf of our country. Right. So thank you so much for being here today with us. Secondly, let me just say, I have my mother, thank God, who is 89 years old. My aunt is 93. I have another aunt who recently passed at 100. They keep it real. They keep it real for me. And they know, and they remind me each and every day that Chained CPI is a benefit cut. Yes. Plain and simple. It is. And there is no way that we will allow this cut to take place. No way. We need to strengthen, as you've heard, Social Security, not cut it. Not cut it. There are many ways to cut, as Rosa laid out. Also, the Pentagon. Yeah. You look at the waste, fraud, and abuse in the Pentagon. Why don't we talk about that rather than cutting our seniors' Social Security? So there is no way we're going to allow this to happen. Chained CPI harms those who can least afford it. Least afford it. the elderly, of course, women, communities of color. In my own district, let me just share with you, in California, Oakland, California, the benefit cut would be $2.5 million in 2015, and in 2020, $22.6 million. These cuts are horrible, they're horrific, they're ridiculous. This is not who we are as Americans. These are not our values. And so I say this is un-American, what these Republicans want to do. It's un-American. We are Americans, we are patriots, and so we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. For all of you who have been working all of your lives, now to have the rules changed in the middle of the game?
No.
This is wrong. No, no, no. It's morally wrong. It's ethically wrong. And our young people, finally, let me just say, they deserve better. They deserve for us to preserve their Social Security benefits, their Medicare and their Medicaid. So on behalf of our seniors and on behalf of our young people, on behalf of this country, we are saying no to Chained CPI. We're not going to allow any benefit cuts to take place. Thank you again, my brothers and sisters, for being here.
Now, you know, we just got too many heavy hitters in here. Let me tell you, one of them is Jan Schakowsky, who is the, you know, let me tell you, she's the co-chair of the Senior Caucus. You know what? I tell you, Jan has applied her organizer skills as a member of Congress and is pulling people together all over this country to protect this great promise of Social Security and social insurance. She's a teacher of all of us. Jan Schakowsky, everybody.
Okay. 10 reasons why the Chained CPI is the wrong thing to do. Number 1, the Chained CPI hurts the entire economy. Reducing benefits means consumers spend less, jobs are lost, and the whole economy suffers. 2, the Chained CPI is not more accurate. If we wanted it to be accurate, the CPI ought to be raised.
That's right.
Number 3,
Raise it.
Seniors can't afford those cuts in benefits. What is called a modest benefit cut for the elite policymakers, it makes it impossible for seniors to stretch their benefit dollars. Number 4, Chained CPI hurts current beneficiaries. This is not just for future, it is for the current. Number 5, it is really bad for people with disabilities. Workers who are disabled early in their careers take the biggest hit because those cuts grow every year. Number 6, it is really bad for women. Women earn less in their lives and we live longer, and so we suffer even more. Number 7, it is really bad for veterans. You know, the Chained CPI will apply to veterans benefits as well for 3.2 million disabled veterans, plus the 9 million veterans who rely on Social Security. That's a double whammy. Number 8, Social Security doesn't contribute 1 penny to the deficit and should absolutely not be part of any deficit conversation. Number 9, the Chained CPI is opposed by the majority of Americans, so we need to mobilize them and we will win. And number 10, it's absolutely unnecessary. We don't have to inflict pain on retirees and the disabled workers and children and families. Instead, we can scrap the cap. Scrap the cap. Scrap the cap. And so we are going to stand firm. We're going to make this fight, and we will win. Thank you, seniors. Thank you, everyone.
You know what? Right now we got a good problem. We got to be wrapped up in a few minutes, but we got a lot of champions for Social Security.
Yes.
We're gonna hear from them all, but I'm gonna ask my dear friends to kind of keep it tight. Let me tell you, we can only talk for 1 minute on the floor, so we're all used to keeping it tight. Now, one guy who has so much information, knowledge, and wisdom to share it, 1 minute is a very big challenge for him, but you better listen to him because he has something good to tell you. His name is Jerry Nadler. Go for it, Jerry.
Thank you, Keith, and thank you for your leadership on this. There are many reasons why this whole idea of the Chained CPI is wrong. Let me just go through a few of them quickly. Number one, it's a fraud. It's a fraud. It's based on the idea that the current way of figuring out the cost of living is too generous. That if you can't afford steak and you have to eat hamburger now, well, then we should only look at the cost of the hamburger, not the steak, because that's not a diminution in your standard of living. That's wrong. Number two, the CPI as it is understates inflation and ought to be increased.
That's right.
It ought to be increased. And Social Security benefits ought to be increased. Social Security benefits in the United States are the lowest as a proportion of the cost of living of any major developed country's pension system in the world. And it ought to be much higher, not much lower. Number three, as you've heard, Social Security doesn't contribute to the deficit. Number four, this is part of the, number four, as was said before, pensions, private sector pensions are to a large extent a thing of the past. We are, and the public sector pensions are being attacked. We ought to go the other way. And instead of saying taxpayers don't get private sector pensions anymore, why should public employees get it? We ought to say everybody ought to get it again, because the 401k experiment is a failure. A larger percentage of 70-year-olds are working now than 10 years ago. Why? Because they have to. Because people can't afford to retire anymore. And this is becoming an increasing problem and an increasing crisis. So we ought to be increasing Social Security, increasing private pensions, mandating private pensions in addition to Social Security. Lastly, there is a basic attack going on in this country against so-called entitlements. That's what this fight is all about. That's what the budget fight is all about. We have to cut down on entitlements. That means we have to cut down on Medicare. We have to cut down on Social Security. We have to cut down on anything we do to help people. Wrong and immoral. This has got to be fought, and it's shameful if any Democrat,
That's right.
no matter where he or she may be, buys into any of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give it up for Mark Chicano, California, everybody.
Thank you. I'll be very brief. I'm so glad to see my friend Alan Grayson show up. We, of course, signed the letter way back in the day. Seems like eons ago, but it was just a few months ago. It was the Grayson-Chicano letter on the internet, and we called for a fight against Chained CPI. And let me just say that I feel like I've been away from my students. I was a high school teacher. I learned a hip-hop phrase, catch a fade. You get in a brawl with me over Chained CPI, you're going to catch a fade with me. That's it.
That's keeping it real, baby. Okay, David Cicilline, Rhode Island, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to Raul and Keith for their leadership. Thank you to all my colleagues who are here today. As you all know, many of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle call programs like Social Security and Medicare entitlement programs, and they say it with sort of disdain. The truth is, as you all know, these are not entitlement programs. They are earned benefits, particularly Social Security benefits that seniors have earned and paid into after a lifetime of hard work. And it's a really important reminder that it's a promise we made, that it reflects our values as a country. We created Social Security because we decided as a country that after you work a certain number of years, after you reach a certain age, or after you have a certain disability, that you should be able to live with dignity and have retirement security. We should be proud of that value. We should do everything we can to strengthen and protect Social Security and make sure it's there for current retirees and for all future retirees. We should oppose vigorously, and we will, any effort to cut or undermine Social Security, and that's what Chained CPI is. I am very proud to say I introduced a resolution in the House with 125 of my colleagues as co-sponsors that express the sense of the House in opposition to Chained CPI. And we will continue this fight because Social Security is so critical to the middle class of this country, to the kind of America that we all want. There are many, many ways to strengthen it. Get rid of the cap, make sure that we can fund it for the next generation, make sure it's stronger, and that we can increase Social Security rather than cut it. Thank you again for being here today.
Great job, David. Al Lowenstein, California, Long Beach.
Hey! I'm a new member, but I have to tell you, I am so proud to be here to demonstrate unity. This is a critical moment in America's history. We are either going to continue that inexorable march towards freedom, towards protection, that started in 1935 under President Roosevelt, who who kept seniors out of poverty, and we're going to continue that march. We're going to protect the Affordable Health Care Act. We're going to protect Medicaid. We're going to protect Medicare in this country. I am just so proud to be part of the Democratic Party that really is now beginning to step up and say, we are the party of the people.
Yeah.
We care about you.
Yeah.
We represent you, and we will fight for you.
Hello and thought, everybody. Now, you know, if you look under the word persistence in the dictionary, you will see the picture of Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yes. Wow, I'm excited. The first thing I want to do is to emphasize how proud I am of all these members, Progressive Caucus members and other members. Give them a very big hand because they're out here for you. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Raul. I want these three young ladies to come stand by me. You know, there's something called Stand By Me. Come on over here. Hold those signs up. Fan them, everybody. They need to be fanned because it's hot out here. Let me just say this. Last night I was dreaming and I heard the words, put entitlements on the table. And I woke up and said, I'm in a nightmare. And that's what America is turning to when they begin to talk about chained CPI. Now, as I stand here today, the very words chained are words that should not even come out of our lips. For the association of being chained is one that America has been gone for years and years to break the chains. Yes. Break the chains of discrimination. Yes. Break the chains of insinuation. Yes. Break the chains of elimination. Yes. And today I stand here to break the chains of the CPI. Yes. Because the CPI is chaining our Social Security recipients to doing things and being things that they don't deserve. Yes. 2 points. At 75, your benefits will be cut by $650. At 85, you've lived for 85 years. You worked $1,150. Chained CPI is chaining our seniors to a life of devastation without food, without prescription drugs, without the ability to pay for their rent and their homes. Lastly, let me say that 67% are expected not to be able to maintain a standard of living. So today, my friends, I stand and say I am breaking the chains of the chained CPI. I don't know about you, but I am standing with our seniors. There you go. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you all, ladies. So we got our own comeback kid in the Progressive Caucus. We got our own comeback kid. You know, this guy made a name fighting for Progressive Caucus. They took him out. He came back. Alan Grayson.
Alan Grayson, yeah.
I look around the audience, I see men and I see women. I see young people and I see old people. I see white people, I see people of color. I don't see any Republicans. Where are the Republicans? Oh, wait a minute, they're the ones who want to cut Social Security. That's why they're not here today. Well, I have a message for them. Let me tell you exactly who it is who is against cutting Social Security. It's seniors and people who want to be seniors one day. Let me tell you what the Grayson-Takano letter actually said. It said, we will vote against any and every cut in Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. The last thing I want to say about this is this. If it ain't broke, don't break it!
All right, way to go, way to go. So now, Zolofkin, everybody, give Zoe a big hand. Zolofkin, California.
You know, I think this is not a complicated issue. We decreased taxes on the richest Americans. We engaged in 2 wars and put the whole cost on a credit card. We let Wall Street tank the economy, and we ended up with the debt. And to think that we're going to turn to seniors and disabled people who are barely getting by and cut their earned benefits to solve that problem is disgusting, it's immoral, it's wrong, and we're not going to do it. I think it's important to understand who's on which side.
That's right.
The Democrats are standing on the side of the American people. The Republicans are proposing that we cut the earned benefits of people who have very little. The fight is before us. We're ready for the fight with you.
Now, to take us home right before we line up and make a chain across the Capitol, we have an awesome leader, my man, Mike Honda. Give it to him, Mike.
Yes, Mike. All right, everything's been said about Chained CPI. In the 60s, we used to say people want a piece of the pie, right? Yeah. And they were worried about taking too much of that pie. Well, my mom taught me you make the pie bigger.
Yeah,
right? So instead of talking about Chained CPI or cutting benefits or making the thing spread out more, my mom always used to say that we just have to make the pie bigger. And so we're going to talk about one cut. It's called cut the crap. Scrap the cap. On top of that, when you scrap the cap, we also add in our bill this one other thing, CPIE, which means the E means for the elder. We're going to increase the CPI so that it'll keep up with the cost of growing old.
That's right. Yes.
My mom was 96 when she died a few months ago. If it weren't for Social Security and Medicare, she would have been a burden, she said. And she didn't want to be a burden. We don't want to be a burden to anybody.
Right.
So we pay into our Social Security, and that's our contract with the people of this country. Let's cut the crap, scrap the cap.
Whoa. So now everybody, we are going to hold hands, hang together, stick together. This chain is going to start right there and extend that way. So what we want you to do is start chaining up, line to the. If you want to go down the line and talk to the folks who are going to make up this human chain against the Chained CPI, you're welcome to do so. And so we're going to be making a human chain that way. We're going to chain together. We're going to stick together. We're going to be together against this Chained CPI. We say no, absolutely no to Chained CPI, no to Chained CPI. Thank you all very much for coming. All right.
Thank you, sir. How you doing? Don't negotiate. No, we need you to more on the day.
Little room. Get out of the way.
Thank you, my brother. Hi, Laura.
Tchaikovsky, lead.
I missed it. I saw you talking. All right. Wow. Well, thank you all. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. All right.
Little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Go bring the change.
No CPI. No CPI. No CPI. I don't know. Everybody no CPI. No Chained CPI. No Chained CPI. We act radio. No Chained CPI. No Chained CPI. No Chained CPI. No Chained CPI. No CPI.
Social Security.
Just in time for this. Oh, thank you. I sing in the choir. You got the part.